This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on, and welcome to Take on the Word with
Yours truly, Johnny.
and Mike D. We are here in the dungeon. It's been a little bit.
It's been a bit.
We get busy, and well, I had that wrestling show, so I was working up to that.
It was a big build up, but you did a lot of stuff while I was gone. I have stuff I'm working on. We'll just say that.
Yep. So before we get started, we're going to talk about the Deluxe Edition Network. So go to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Check out all the great podcasts on there. Every month they have Spotlight Podcasts, and this month it is Metalhead Journeys, and they do heavy metal music and MILF and Me podcast. They covered a lot of different stuff, like pretty much whatever they want to talk about.
I'd like to go on there because I could share some of my crazy ass stories of the cesspool, as they quote unquote, the dating world, especially online dating. God, it's fucking...
So, podcast of the month, Metalhead Journeys, MILF and Me podcast. Check them out, deluxeeditionnetwork.com. And we have one other thing we need to do before we get started today. Something that I have been looking forward to.
You're springing this on me, aren't you?
Yes.
You
yes, I am.
fuck.
So you can see on the table here, I have a bottle of Jeppson's Malort. And if you don't know what that is,
Nobody knows what that is.
you know what's funny? This is like a big Chicago thing, and I lived up there, and I've never heard it. I even went to like the downtown gritty, seedy bars.
Big where in Chicago?
It's a big thing in Chicago. So I'm going to explain this. So we talked about the Deluxe Edition Network.
The Hobo's tent?
the Hobo's tent. One of my favorite podcasts on the network is Barrel Age Flicks and the sister show Barrel Age Chicks. But Ron from Barrel Age Flicks came up for that wrestling show. And I actually did a tasting of this. So this will be the second time I taste it and hopefully be the last.
He threw up all over the place.
I didn't throw up, but it was... You should see Casey's video. I'll show you Casey's video. Yeah, the can is here. So on their show, they have rules that everybody must follow. So like if someone's phone goes off, they have to do a punishment shot. And their original punishment shot was Jeppson's Malort. Now they spin a wheel, and on that wheel are different things, including drink something yummy, which they get to pick what they want. They have a...
If I filled this half up in the shot glass and pissed in the rest of it, that'd be something yummy.
Well, you don't know that. You might like it, dude. You actually might like it.
Oh, man, the build-up's been great.
All I know is I tasted it. I'm going to throw my original tasting video up. But in solidarity with John, I'm going to do a tasting with him right here on this very show. So I want to point out when I fill my glass, I'm only filling it halfway. This is a triple shot in my... And I'm going to fill...
Hardly a triple shot.
I'm going to fill John's about 3/4 of the way. And that's it. We just got to do it, dude.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Enough jibba jabba. Let's go.
I did open this bottle so Nathan could smell it.
Ugh. I don't even think I want to smell it.
And Johnny, you have a little more than me. Ugh, why did I do that? I didn't smell it before I tasted it.
It doesn't really smell like anything.
Hang on, let me bring the camera up so I can
No.
see. So I can see your face.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up.
Did you just smell it and almost throw up?
Yeah,
I told you don't smell it.
dude, I could cough and throw up. Ugh.
So I'm gonna let you do yours first. Now
I don't want it, Michael.
they have rules about their punishment shots. You can't wash it down for 5 minutes. If you puke, I think you got to take the shot again, but I'm not going to make you do that. So
How long do you have to puke?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what that rule is. I'll have to get a hold of Ron later and ask him.
All right, fuck it. Let's go. Am I doing mine first?
You're doing yours first. We get your reaction, and I'll do mine.
Oh. Oh, that's the most bitter.
Casey took it straight face, dude.
God damn it, that's gross.
Get ready to grab that bucket.
No, if I was gonna puke, it
No,
would've been
for
like-
me.
Oh, almost immediately.
So
It's like, what is that? It's like grapefruit rind.
wait, here, do you want to read the back of the bottle?
No, I want to throw it in the garbage. That's what I want.
Nope, that Jepson's Malort will sit on this shelf for
Forever.
eternity.
It'll outlast everyone.
It'll certainly outlast this podcast.
Jepson's Malort has the aroma and full-bodied flavor of an unusual botanical. Its bitter taste is savored by two-fisted drinkers. That's bullshit.
Well, I think they're washing it down with something is what I think that
well,
means.
it's obvious. I mean,
But it's
you can wash fucking gasoline down with a beer.
distilled in Chicago. And
It's very bitter, and then I forgot, and I'm not going to retaste it. There's like two distinct. I almost get like the bitterness you would get if you like bit into a grapefruit, but there wasn't a grapefruit flavor. That kind of makes sense.
no, it makes no sense at all.
Like, you know, like I'm not a very big grapefruit fan,
Okay.
and it needs a lot of sugar. Like you half it. Like my sisters would put, one sister would put sugar all over it and then eat it like that, and I never really cared for it. And then it has like some kind of other, I don't know, gross.
Dude.
Overall, honestly, it wasn't. I think I've even thrown up after taking a shot of that.
Oh. Well, Casey took it straight faced. And I'm like, don't tell me that didn't affect you. And he's like, no, that's the worst shot I ever had.
That is the worst shot I've ever had.
So I'm going to do mine. I'm not looking forward to it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, buddy.
I didn't puke yet. Oh my God, I hate that shit.
Oh, I thought it was coming up.
Almost.
You had that like pre-barf cough.
Almost. Oh. And I thank God I never have to do it again.
Well, we get a hold of that wheel.
Well, I told Ron I might steal that and make our own wheel because we were always breaking rules. Dude, that was, I think that was worse than the first time. My freaking eyes are watering.
Fucking savored by no one. Did they tell you how they came upon this?
They did say it on the show, and it was a while ago, so I don't quite remember. But maybe one day we'll have Ron on the show, and that's a question we can ask him. But the thing is, Ron had invited me to be on a show when he does Starship Troopers next year, because that's one of my favorite movies. As cheap and
Oh, I love Starship Troopers. It's a great
So
movie.
I said, well, maybe I'll drive down because they're in Virginia. Maybe I'll drive down and sit in. He goes, oh, that'd be fucking awesome. So I'm afraid if I break a rule down there, they're gonna start shoving that in my face.
Better be on your best behavior.
Oh. At least you're allowed to cuss there. So Jepson's Malort, the most disgusting thing I've ever drank.
Well, let's say you think 418.
What's that? 413.
418. We can.
Yes, 418. 5 minutes. You got to
else?
wait 5 minutes. Yes. So, and I'm anxiously awaiting chasing that with my beer. Dude, I almost lost it, bro.
I know. That was great. I was laughing.
I was this close. I held it back because it's embarrassing to begin with. I didn't want to embarrass myself that bad. I have this, I don't like bitter, and it sticks. The taste is still there.
See, now mine went away pretty quick.
Man, you're just fucking weird.
At least I don't like candy corn.
So I hate you too. All right, so we'll be right back. We are going to wait the full 5 minutes, and then we are going to wash it down and continue with the show. So back in March, Sweet Z's mattress sent me a pillow. It is 100% vegan, plant-based down filling, also known as vegetable cashmere. 3-layer design. I got it. I felt it. I'm like, this is going to be way too soft for me. It wasn't. It's perfect. I lay on my back. It supports my head. I lay on my side. It supports my head. I sleep very well with it. It's got cooling properties because it's covered in cotton. You're going to want to check it out. If you're in the market for a pillow, well, go to sweetzmattress.com, and it's sweetzmattress.com. Use TOTW15 for 15% off your order. They have a 50-day money-back guarantee, free returns on all of its products. They sell sheets, mattresses, pillows. Like I said, I have the pillow, and I've been using it since March, and I love it. So you're going to want to check it out. And if you want to save some money, TOTW15 at checkout. Okay, we're back. So John and I did our Malort, but Deb, the professional broadcaster, has not done her taste. I just gave her a little bit because she's not the drinker that me and John are.
I'm not as seasoned.
She's not seasoned.
I'm a lightweight.
Yes, lightweight. So this is your shot of Malort. Do not smell it. And there's the puke bucket.
Well, you're lucky the only thing I ate today was pizza. Now, I'm really scared because you guys all talk shit on this.
Okay, do it.
Oh, like it.
She Casey'd it. She
No.
fucking no-sold it.
It doesn't taste bad up front,
Yes, it does.
but in the back, it's like chewing on a grapefruit rind.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said.
I have an excellent palate, so I would be interested to know what's in it.
It doesn't really taste like grapefruit.
No, but it's that bitterness from the
rind.
pith.
Yeah,
The
and that's
pith.
exactly what he just said.
Yeah.
So I'm the pussy of the group because I almost puked.
I guess hobos in Chicago like fucking
Yeah.
grapefruit.
So that
An unusual
Well, it's made-
botanical. It's made from pith.
it's made from wormwood.
Is that what that pith? What's that?
Wormwood.
That's the white part of an orange or a grapefruit, or is
So
that?
this bottle will sit on one of these shelves for eternity and gather dust and mold and everything else because I will never intentionally drink this again.
If it didn't finish like that, I would.
You know
Now
what?
you're not allowed to wash
Hold
it
on.
down for 5 minutes.
Your Jason mask falls one more time. You're taking a shot of that.
No, you're not going to start making fucking rules, dude.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
All right. So now we'll be right back one more time.
It's called Malort. I'll leave a little bit.
Take on the world. He's going to take his first reward.
I am not looking forward to this. I'm not even going to smell it.
Just take it down.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That is fucking horrible. And I gotta finish it?
Yeah, you gotta finish it.
Hold on, I want to leave some for him.
Let us sip.
Here. Don't smell it.
Yeah, just take it.
I don't drink, so it's gonna be tough. Just for Bob.
It's barely alcohol. It's barely.
Yeah, right, sure.
This truly is a punishment.
Can I get an ice cube or something?
Nothing. You can't wash it down. That's the
Bread? I
rule.
need some bread.
The rule is you can't wash it down. Oh my God.
Perfect. Crazy from Deluxe Edition about to try his first reward. Take it like a pro.
All the way down.
No reaction.
That it?
That's it.
That was it.
You know what? He's been drinking alcohol the whole time.
He's also been smoking bud all day, so
pretending.
it's fast.
Stop pretending it sucked.
Really? It didn't bother you at all?
I mean, it was the worst shot ever, but I gotta look like a fucking man here.
Well, you're trying not to get a reaction.
Fucking
that's why.
gross. The worst shot I've ever had in my fucking life.
And we are back once again. So, all three of us have done the Malort. Apparently, I am the weak one of the bunch.
You are the weak.
You
are the weakest link.
Goodbye. Our former retired professional broadcaster came down and she tried the Malort. I will put a separate video up for all three of us. And I will also keep it on this long form.
And then we had the same.
Yeah, that was amazing that you and Deb had the same exact.
I have a pretty good palate for food, and I have a very sensitive nose to, like, I smell things and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I smell
stuff, and I have a pretty good palate, but I will tell you this. I don't eat grapefruit at all.
I don't like grapefruit.
I can't because I take a statin drug.
Yeah.
So I never liked it growing up. So, like, it's never been a thing that I've eaten that I can make that comparison.
You know, it's funny because it's, well, not, but a friend of mine told me that that was an old weightlifter's trick. Was in the morning you eat grapefruit and a black coffee, and it somehow helps you build muscle.
Okay, you say so.
It's like a thing from the 80s, I think.
I know when I was heavy into working out, magnesium, I take magnesium pills in the morning.
Magnesium.
And it would help supposedly restore your muscles faster.
Magnesium PI.
Anyway, yeah, magnesium PI. So on to our topic at hand, which is Theresa Knorr. And I will tell you, when you brought her up to me, I had no freaking idea.
Good. I succeeded. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but
no, go ahead. No. And I want to know where you got this from.
Surprisingly, I was just sitting at home watching YouTube shorts, and the video for this came up, and it was her son. She was in court. She was the defendant, and right? Am I saying right?
Mm-hmm.
And her son testified against her.
Right.
And it didn't really show you that much, but it told you what the thing was. And I'm like, and I never heard of anything like this or this lady. So I looked it up and I was like, dude, we both have experienced this, right?
Yes.
And
well, not this, but
well, yeah, but
the amount of evil that is in this,
right? But I would say there's different forms of it. Like there could be mild, mid, whatever.
So
but I knew, and this is one of my main goals, is to try and find shit that you've never heard of. So when I can impress you, and you're like, wow, and then when I sent this to you, you're like, wow, like I've never fucking heard of this. I'm like, good. Well, then my job's done.
And
So you do all the research, and then
I was appalled and sickened when I was doing the research.
Yeah. And I would venture to say that there's one case that I can think of that might feed into this, but I'll touch on that later.
I will, after thinking about it, after we spoke earlier this afternoon, and I said, hey, what does the devouring mother syndrome that you mentioned have to do with this? And I can see that was her personality, but I think she went far, 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 far beyond that, because that when I was doing the research for that, I found that like helicopter moms and mothers who are very controlling and explain it, because it's not a syndrome. It's you said it's not a syndrome, more so
it's, I guess, what do they call it, a phenomenon or not? No. Can I just start reading?
It's not on here
because I don't know. I didn't research that. I forget.
Well, I didn't. I have that research in another one because it was just too much to add to this. Once I got into researching this, I really went down a fucking rabbit hole, dude.
It's not, because it doesn't. It's not like it's a syndrome, and as if you gave the definition of syndrome, that's like I have this certain set of ailments or things that we can. But it's more like it just kind of happens, not sporadically, but to these types of women who have
that
children,
kind of personality, yeah,
and a certain type of personality.
So when I was researching it, it says that it's not a medically recognized syndrome or disease in any way. It's just a pattern of behavior.
Yeah,
let's how about saying that.
I feel we should get into this because
okay. So this is Theresa Knorr. She was the subject of the ID channel's Evil Lives Here, Face of My Torturer. So that should give you a hint of where we are going. She was convicted of killing 2 of her children. And if that wasn't bad enough, she had her other 4 children help facilitate the murders and cover up the killings. All while convincing the rest of her children that this is all normal. So, I've been very open about this in the past, that I grew up in some abuse, and my abuse connected to this is nothing. And for me, it was horrific. But this, like,
being forced to help kill.
I have no reason.
Brothers and sisters?
I have no reason to bitch. Is what I'm saying.
All right, yeah.
Because there's always someone who has it worse. Theresa was born in 1946. Theresa Jamie Knorr, but I don't think that's right. I think it's Cross.
Whoever, fuck her. I hope she rots in jail.
Because towards the end, it says she went back to using her maiden name, which was Cross. Unless really? one of her 16 husbands was fucking Cross.
Does it matter at this point?
No, it doesn't. Although it could matter next year, dude. And we'll get to that. But so they didn't have what one would say is an idyllic childhood. Her father was a cheesemaker at the local dairy. So I guess they always had food. He had Parkinson's. And when he had to quit his job, it caused depression. These conditions caused him to take his frustrations out on his family. Theresa was close to her mother, but she died in 1961 of congestive heart failure. So, you have an abusive father. You have a mother who may have tried to protect her, but now is gone. So she's got some history.
There's something manifesting there.
Yeah. And I don't know if that plays into her mental illness or not, but
absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
So without mom there, they couldn't keep the family home, so the father had to sell it. A year later, Theresa met Clifford Clyde Sanders. She was 16 and he was 21. They knew each other for a few months and they got married. So on September 29th, 1962, she got married for the first time. She dropped out of high school. And in 1963, she had her first child.
Damn little hussy.
Yeah, I know. Like, she's 17 years old.
Well, anyways, go on.
The marriage was not a happy one. There was reported numerous affairs, and then things came to a head in 1964 in July.
Numerous affairs between who?
Her husband and other women.
Oh,
So she was pregnant with their second child. Theresa shot her husband in the back with a rifle.
God.
Prosecutors said it was without provocation. She was charged, and at her trial for murder, she was acquitted by saying she acted in self-defense.
Sir, he was clearly walking away from me, and I felt for my life.
She claimed he was a violent alcoholic who physically abused her. But her Theresa's own sister, Rosemary, testified against her at that trial, saying Theresa was possessive and jealous, and that she would kill him before she ever let another woman have him.
Again.
Yeah. Rosemary was okay later on. This is much later on. So I just want to specify that some of the stuff jumps ahead to after things have happened. Rosemary was later found strangled to death at the end of a dead-end road in 1983. The police reopened a case to investigate Theresa in connection with the murder after she was arrested in 1993. They determined she had nothing to do with the murder. I don't think that's true.
It was self-defense.
Yeah, it was self-defense. So I had my oldest son come and murder you. In 1965, she gave birth to her dead husband's second child. A year later, she was remarried to a Marine Corps private, Robert W. Knorr. This marriage lasted 5 years, and they had 4 children.
So this would have been her 6th children.
Yes, 2 girls, 2 boys. The 2 girls were Susan, who was born in 1966, and Theresa Terry Marie Knorr, born August 5th, 1970. Same day I was born.
Really?
Yes.
Same month?
August 5th. I was born August 5th, 1970.
Huh.
I'm not a woman. And she died. So William was born in 1967 and Robert was born in 1968. According to reports, both Theresa and Robert were physically Robert Sr. What is that? Oh, the dryer.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a dryer. Both Theresa and Robert were physically violent towards each other and the children. Robert left her December of 1970 and was granted a divorce in 1971. After the divorce, she refused to let Robert Sr. see his kids, which is a common theme.
Mm-hmm. It's rain.
Is it?
Yes. You can hear it off the Belco doors.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah. And we're back again. She went on to have 2 more failed marriages. She married a railroad worker, Ronald Pullum, in 1971, and this is so 71. It's not even a year after she was divorced.
She's just got to have somebody to take care of the fam.
Up until a point. But that's
until she wastes them all.
Yeah, pretty much. Whom she began to leave her children. All she did was she married this guy and she left her kids with him and went out and partied. And then she married Chester Harris, a newspaper copy editor who she married in 1976. So her daughter Susan grew very close to Harris, and that made Theresa jealous. And then she filed for divorce November of 1976, so the same year.
Jesus Christ.
After she supposedly found out that he was taking consensual nude photos of women, which if that's a reason for, well, it's the 70s.
Exactly.
So after 4 failed marriages, she started to become physically, verbally, and mentally abusive towards her children. She became reclusive to the point where she was disconnecting the phone so no one can call them. She made it her mission to see that her children did not have any visitors either. So she was secluding them, isolating them, isolated herself. She pulled the children out of school. I don't think all at the same time, but one at a time. None of them made it past the 8th grade. The neighbors had reported that their home was always dirty and the children always looked filthy.
And smell of urine.
No. That's her eldest son left home and he got a small apartment. And according to his neighbors, the apartment was filthy and it smelled of urine.
Oh.
So, like, he didn't learn how to clean nothing because she didn't clean nothing.
Right.
Teresa's neighbors noticed the children were never allowed to go outside and often seemed fearful, nervous, and high-strung. Well, I guess they would if they were kept inside a tiny apartment all the time.
Yeah, and just mentally abused by their mother.
Mentally and physically.
Sorry.
Her abuse lasted for years. She tortured her children, including beating them, force feeding them, because she started gaining weight. So she gained weight in a rapid pace, and she blamed the kids for that. So she was force feeding them so that they would gain weight. She would burn them with cigarettes. She threw knives at them. One of the children was hit by a knife. Theresa cleaned the wound, stopped the bleeding, but did not take him for medical care.
Well, I mean, at least she cleaned the wound.
Yeah. So she would make the other children, they would make the children hold each other down while she beat them with a special beating paddle. She held a pistol to her youngest daughter, Terry's head, and threatened to kill her. So Sheila and Susan took the brunt of the torture.
Were those the ones from her most recent marriage, the two youngest ones?
I think. See, the first marriage, the two kids,
Sherry and Suzanne.
Let me see. Her first two kids were. See, I don't have the names of the first two kids. I think Sheila was one of the first two. Susan was born to.
I think Susan was the last one.
She was the first girl born to the second father. Where is it at? Here we go. Susan was born in 1966.
Oh,
So she was the firstborn of the second marriage.
okay. I thought it was the one that took a liking to the dad, and then she divorced him that same year.
So Terry was the youngest. Susan was the third youngest. William and Robert were in the middle. So Sheila was from the first marriage. Yes. And then who was the other kid? William Robert. Who was the other kid?
Oh, what had to been? It was a
It was a boy. I forget what his name was. It's in here someplace. We'll get to it. So Sheila and Susan took the brunt of the torture. Terry said in an interview that her mother resented Sheila and Susan because they were maturing and blossoming into beautiful young women. And she feared the prospect of losing her looks as she aged. Now, I saw her picture, and I don't see looks. Not to be judgy, but I don't.
Well, that's according to her mother. Her mother could have just been
Well, I don't know how she got one dude to marry her, much less four.
the mother.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I'm not being judgy, but I'm being judgy.
Without being judgy and being judgy at the same time.
Theresa believed that her fourth husband, Chester, had turned Susan into a witch, and the abuse towards her intensified. After one beating, Susan ran away from home and was picked up by the police and placed in psychiatric hospital, where she told the staff about her mother's abuse. Theresa came and said, no, none of that's true. She has mental health issues. They didn't investigate it.
I started to lose track of these names.
And they released Susan back into her custody. So the two names you need to remember are Susan, Terry,
Susan.
and Sheila. Susan, Terry, and Sheila. Teresa's the mom. Terry's the youngest. Susan is the third child.
Okay.
So they did investigate her, gave her back to custody. When they got home, she was immediately punished by a beating while wearing leather gloves, and then forced her siblings to take turns in the assault. So basically, they had a gang. They had a gang jump in because she was a snitch. It's just a few weeks later, Susan was handcuffed under the table for the next 2 years. She was allowed to get up intermittently because she had pressure sores. She was force fed, and if she vomited while she was being force fed, she was forced to eat the vomit.
Oh, God.
After 2 years of torture under the table, Susan begged to be released. The next morning, on July 16th, 1986, Theresa went on a psychotic rampage, assaulting all of her children. She uncuffed Susan, but handed Terry, the youngest, a gun to point at her and was told to shoot Susan if they moved. So now I don't know exactly what was happening here. If the rampage was
me and you both.
I don't know if the rampage was over. And
what did she do for a living?
Hold on, we're gonna get there.
Other than beat her kids,
she was on unemployment. It's California, dude. They just pay you not to work. So I don't know what was going on in the house, but some of the kids were out in the kitchen making oatmeal. From what I understand, one of them dropped a spoon on the ground, and I guess it was deadly silent. And it's like when the spoon dropped, Terry jumped, shot the gun. It went off. It hit Susan in the chest, and the bullet lodged in her back. So now she's bleeding. Mom chains her back under the table and was pissed off at her because you're getting blood on my carpet. So a couple of days later, Theresa decides, I'm going to nurse her back to health because I'm a good mom. But she just takes her up, puts her in the bathtub until the wound closes up. Like, doesn't really do anything for her. Susan survived the gunshot, but she begged her mother to let her leave. So Theresa eventually said, okay, I'm going to let you leave, but we're taking that bullet out before you go because I don't want no evidence of this shit. So they managed to get the bullet out while Susan passed out from the pain because they didn't give her any fucking anesthetic or nothing. They just fucking dug in for it.
That cold-hearted bitch didn't even give her any anesthetic.
So she got an infection and then sepsis.
Didn't die from that.
Well, she didn't die yet. They thought she was dead. That same day, Theresa packed up all Susan's belongings in a trash bag, tied her arms and legs, and duct taped her mouth. Ordered her two sons, Robert and William, to put Susan in the car. They drove her to Shaw Valley, where Robert and William placed her on the side of the road on top of her trash bag containing her belongings. Theresa ordered Robert to douse the bags and Susan with gasoline and set them on fire.
My God.
Robert thought she was dead, but she was still alive. She was burned alive.
Ugh.
Her smoldering body was found the next day. Due to the state of the remains, she was unidentifiable and listed as Jane Doe, number 4873/84. She was 17 years old when she was murdered.
Jesus Christ.
So now Theresa's out of the way.
You know, it's a good thing she got that bullet out of her back.
I mean, Susan's out of the way. So Theresa becomes the target of all the anger and abuse now.
Bro, this is fucked up.
Oh, no, Theresa doesn't. Sheila becomes the target of all the anger and abuse. She was 20 years old. 20. Why didn't you fucking leave?
I know. That's the part of the...
But it's part of the psychology.
Yeah.
Of like
why didn't she pick up a pan and hit her in the fucking head, murder her while she's sleeping?
Well, it's like a woman who's abused in a marriage, not leaving. And I recently talked to somebody. I'm not gonna say who. I talked to somebody recently, and she was saying in her first marriage, it was very abusive, and it went on for, I think she said 12 years. And I'm like, can I ask you a question without being a dick or prying? And you could tell me, shut the fuck up and fuck off, that it's none of my business. But why the fuck would you stay in that abuse for 12 years? And she's like, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
I think everybody has an answer when you're not being abused. It's like, well, you just fucking leave. And you're like, you don't understand. You weren't there. It never happened to you. I have things to say, but I won't say them on camera. I'll just say that.
I will say that both of my sisters were in abusive relationships at one time. And I was more than willing to help them out of it. But if they went back to them, and one of them did, I said, I won't do that. I won't do what I did the first time again, because it's got to be your decision to leave, because
sure,
I'm not putting myself, like, both times I put myself in legal jeopardy to help my sisters.
Yeah. So say you go there and you like fucking kill the person.
Well, there was not going to be any killing.
No, you never know.
Well, there was not going to be any killing. Nobody would ever know. I know where.
You mean you just lodged a bullet in somebody's back, took it out, put them on a trash heap, set them on fire, and they died from that?
Well, I know where they're pouring cement today. So. But I mean, joking aside, like, I don't think it would have got to that point. But it did get physical up in here. And
yeah,
I wouldn't do that again and put myself in jeopardy if you're not taking your safety seriously.
Family disputes, aren't they like some of the most...
Domestic disputes are the most dangerous calls for police officers.
Because you never know what a...
Yes. You don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
And...
Well, I've already been asked to do kind of the same. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting involved. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with that. They weren't family members, but I'm like, I'm sorry, but what am I going to do? Like, yeah, I like you as a person and we're friends, but like, dude, don't, I don't even know what to say.
I'll say this. Before me and Deb defined our relationship as, boyfriend, girlfriend, exclusive, I was seeing someone. I went to see them. And when I went to see him, I had to wait. Their ex-boyfriend was there and was trying to start a fight with me because I was messing with his girl. And I'm like, dude, I'm not messing with anybody's girl. I'm just doing my thing. If she's supposed to be with you, then she could tell me that, and gladly I'll walk on. But so the dude takes a swat at me, and well, you can imagine how that went. And
you started making out.
Yeah. We were dancing and hugging and kissing. In the meantime, somebody saw what was going on, called the cops. She comes out.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me that.
As I'm holding him down, ago. And she jumps on my fucking back.
Yeah.
And scratches me like I'm doing something. And they without even talking it over, they come up with this fucking story that every witness there said, no, that's not what happened. And I'm lucky that the police officer who came was someone I knew. And he didn't let me off the hook. There was no hook to be let off if I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself. And the minute it was under control, I stopped. So, like, I don't get that mentality in a woman. This dude, well, the reason I went after him then, because he took a swat at me, but he smacked her. He smacked her and put her on the ground. And I'm like, no, that dude, that's not cool. So I gripped him up. And she comes and jumps on my fucking back. Like, dude, he just smacked you. I didn't smack you.
Right.
Like, I don't get that.
Yeah. Yep. I guess it's just best to stay away.
So 20-year-old Sheila is forced into prostitution by her mother in May of 1985.
Just, amazes me the power that this person could have over her kids. Or
I know. Like, it's crazy.
Like, every inclination of you wants to be like, dude, just kill her, smother her to sleep, smother her in her sleep, fucking drop a rock on her head while she's sleeping, whatever, set the house
Well,
ablaze.
I will say that's easier said than done.
I know that's what I'm saying, but that's what I said. Every inclination of somebody who hasn't been in that situation,
Like
that's
I had opportunities to confront my abuser in that manner, and I didn't want to become the person that he was trying to make me to be.
right. You kind of walked down a different road and you said, I'm bigger than that.
So
now, with that being said, if you did something to my kid, I think
I
think everything's off the table.
But I would turn myself in too.
Like, you remember that video, that kid guy, well, I don't know if he killed her, but he raped her, I think. And anyways, he was getting extradited, and the dad was on the payphone. It's in like the late 80s, early 90s. He's on the payphone in the airport, and as they're walking him by, he just turns around and fucking blows his head off.
Well, there was a dude right in the courthouse. He jumped over the table and attacked the dude.
Yeah. I mean, no, this guy fucking turned around and blew his fucking brains out.
Good for him.
He got acquitted.
He should.
But nowadays, I don't think you wouldn't.
No, everybody's too sensitive. I don't tell you, I don't care how old my daughter is or how old my son is. If somebody hurts them, the safest place that they can be is in jail, period.
Yeah.
That's the safest place to ever be.
If I lost my kid to some, no, I'm not one to boast. I'm not a macho man, obviously, but at that point,
I don't care.
I got nothing else to live for, so I'll gladly spend the rest of my life in jail.
That's what I feel the same way.
I don't care.
And it's not bravado. It's not being macho. This is a fact. Like, my kids are the most important thing in my life, period.
So anyway,
so she's pimping her fucking daughter out. Well, her daughter's the breadwinner in the family now because Theresa was on California's unemployment benefits. So Theresa allowed Sheila to leave the house whenever she wanted because she was bringing money back. But after a few weeks, Theresa's delusions kicked in. She became angry, and she accused Sheila of being pregnant. And then she also accused Sheila of contracting an STD, and that Theresa herself got that STD from the toilet seat. Sheila denied the accusation, and that just sent Theresa into a rage.
No, Mom, you got that. You got something else from the toilet seat because you'll never clean.
Yeah. You're just a hoe, Mom. Theresa went into a rage, and she beat Sheila, hogtied her, and locked her in a small closet with no ventilation. I think you can see where this is going.
I feel like this is how Michael Myers was born. Is this the prequel to Michael Myers' life?
Well, they did make a movie loosely based off of this. We'll get to that at the end, but it was not. It was not Michael Myers. The other children, and I'm saying at this point, none of them are really still children. Like, they're all
at least teenagers,
early to late teens.
Yeah, but she's got such a stranglehold of them. They're fucking. I can just say this. I don't want to put that on camera either. I'll tell you later. I've probably said it to you before, but
I've said the same thing to you.
I digress.
They were ordered not to open the door. They were forbade from giving her any food or water. So the youngest, Theresa, disobeyed and gave Sheila a beer. In a later interview,
was it a Yingling?
It probably was not, because they're in California.
Yingling Premium.
It was not. No.
Apparently, the worst beer in the world.
It was probably a Steam Anchor. California, dude. They're in Sacramento at this point. I like
Steam Anchor beer.
I do too. You know, they're not shipping it out across the country anymore. It's only going to be a local beer now. Assholes.
Probably because there's nobody to fucking ship it out.
In an interview later, Terry said that Theresa wanted Sheila to confess, and quote, that was mother's way. Beat them until they confess. So to end the punishment, Sheila confessed and said, okay, I'm pregnant. And then Theresa said, I don't fucking believe you. I'm not letting you out. 3 days later, on June 21st, 1985, Sheila died of dehydration and starvation.
We should play a little video clip of her in court.
If I could find one, I'll try to do it.
Let me look while you're talking.
So they didn't know she was dead for another 3 days.
Apparently, she's not good at killing people right away.
But she was dead. But they didn't realize she was dead in the closet for another 3 days. So once again, she called on William and Robert and ordered them to dispose of the body, which had started to decompose and smell horribly. The boys placed Sheila's body in a cardboard box and drove her to Turkey Tahoe Airport and dumped the body. The body was discovered a few hours later. However, again, the body could not be identified and was classified as a Jane Doe, number 6607/85. So the stench of the decomposing body lingered in the apartment, as you can imagine, because that shit don't just go away.
No.
So on September 29th, 1986, that's 15 fucking months of smelling that smell. That's how dirty this bitch was. She moved the family's belongings out of the house, out of the apartment, and ordered Terry to burn the apartment to eliminate any evidence. She dumped 3 containers of lighter fluid around the apartment and started a fire. The neighbors reported the fire, and it ended up doing very little damage because it was put out pretty quickly. The closet that Sheila was kept in was undamaged completely. And that's important because after Theresa's arrest, investigators were able to remove the subfloor and test for physical evidence, which they found. See, that's a punishment shot.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. But it's for the show. I'm going to send it to you on your. It's the Sun's recall, or this is what I saw on TV. Fuck, which maybe send this to you.
I'd like to find an interview with Terry because she's the one who actually shot her first sister unintentionally, of course.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find that.
But she was also the one.
You want mail or email?
Send it to email.
Which one?
Send it to takeonaworld411@gmail.com. Terry was 16 when she ran. But after they moved out of the apartment in Sacramento, Theresa went in hiding. Sons Howard and William were now legal age, and they severed all ties with her.
Is that it?
Yes. At Gmail, not just .com, at gmail.com.
Okay, good.
Terry, who was 16, ran away and used Sheila's ID to pass herself off as a legal adult. Only Robert, who was 19, remained with her. He moved to Las Vegas and attempted to keep a low profile, but that didn't last because in 1991, Robert fatally shot a bartender during an attempted robbery. Now, he's convicted of the robbery and the murder and is convicted or sentenced to 16 years in prison. So I'm assuming that Theresa was living with him. She left Vegas and relocated to Salt Lake City, Utah. So
this crazy bitch has been running amok.
Oh, dude, here's what pisses me off about this.
Here I am trying to make a decent living for myself, struggling. And
yeah, she's moving all over the fucking place. So here's what pisses me off about this. And this has happened.
Party foul.
That's a punishment shot too.
Damn, 2 in a row.
Like many of the homicidal assholes who we've covered over the last couple of years doing this podcast, there's so many fucking red flags and warning signs, dude.
Yes, there are.
I want to start when I do my research, just post next to each bullet point and just post red flag.
But is that hindsight or
some of it is
because we say the same a lot, these like school shooters. You're like, dude, all the red flags are there, but they never ever get fucking caught.
So I would say yes, However, 16-year-old Terry runs away. She escaped her mother. She attempted to report the murders to Utah police. They didn't believe her. They dismissed the entire story as fiction.
You're just a runaway, you dumb bitch.
They sent her to a therapist that you got mental problems. She told the therapist the story. The therapist thought the story was fantasy.
I got the cigarette burns to prove it.
So in October, and here we have this again. This is the second time now. October 1993, Terry phoned the hotline for America's Most Wanted. And she was told by the staff of America's Most Wanted, contacted detectives in Placer County, California, where Susan's body was found. Those detectives took her seriously, thank God, because nobody else did. And this is that when Susan ran away, she told them at the mental hospital that there was abuse going on, and they laughed at her. So these two detectives took the story seriously. Their investigation linked the two Jane Does found in the area in 1984 and 1985 to the details of Terry's story. William Knorr was arrested on November 4th, 1993 in Woodland, California. Robert Knorr was charged with his sister's murder while serving his 16-year sentence. November 10th, 1993, Theresa Knorr was arrested in her home at Salt Lake City, and she was using her maiden name, Cross. Right. So I think when I put Knorr in the first one, which was completely wrong, it was Cross. I think I was just so used to typing Theresa Knorr.
Right.
Hang on.
Well, the Knorr guy was already out of the picture before all
Yes.
this crap. Anyways.
Yes. All the husbands were out of the picture. While they may have abused the kids in some way, they weren't involved in any of this bullshit. 5 days later, she was charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, 2 special circumstances charges, multiple murder, and murder by torture. She originally pled not guilty. However, when she learned that her son Robert had agreed to testify against her in exchange for a lesser sentence, she pled guilty on the condition that they would take death penalty off the table. I don't fucking care.
And I think that's the video that I sent you.
Yeah,
it's
that's
3
right.
minutes.
Yeah.
So I think at the end, can we put that up and listen to it?
Yeah, maybe I'll put it up right here.
And we'll just comment over it because I want to hear it live.
Oh, you want? Okay, we could do that. She learned he was going to
testify against her in exchange for a lesser
So
sentence.
she pled guilty as long as they took death penalty off the table. What I was saying was, I don't fucking care who this fucking prosecutor is. He deserves to get punched in the fucking mouth. There's no way that this woman should skirt the death penalty in any way. I say, okay, plead not guilty, go to trial. You're fucking done, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, hey, guess what? We lied.
Of course, it's California, and it's 1995, and it was shortly thereafter they did away with the death penalty. So maybe this prosecutor knew that, and he was just playing the odds. I don't fucking know, but I hate to second guess police and prosecutors and whatnot, but holy shit.
It's you can't really say it's their fault, the police's fault, but they have to do. The court system is so particular and fucked up that everything has to just when you know somebody is. I've watched so many crime shows, and you know that person is guilty as fuck. But yet they hold off. We have to have because if it comes around, some scumbag fucking lawyer will come around and be like, oh, well, look at this. And therefore they get off clean. So, it has to be meticulous. And then, a lot of times, well, just for the family's sake or whatever, like as long as we can get this fucker behind bars.
You want the legal system to protect the innocent and give them a means to not be fucking abused in the legal system. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a tool to get off scot-free.
No.
If you did something. And I know it's a balancing act, and that's why it's the scales of justice. Some people are going to get caught on one side and some people are gonna get off on the other side.
Yeah,
I
but
get
if
that.
you
But
look at it too, like
it pisses me off. It just
fuck
like
yeah.
this fucking lady doesn't deserve to fucking breathe another fucking breath of air.
Like they'll take like somebody like Ted Bundy and they're like, well, we'll cut some time off your sentence if you just tell us where the bodies are. Or somebody similar. The Green River Killer. There's a dozen of them. There's
Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter. And you know, it's like, well, we'll do you just so we can get some peace for the family. And that sucks, yeah, but what are you doing?
If it means he's never getting out of jail anyway, then I don't have a problem with it. Like if someone's convicted, and well, this is
I know it's a long dark rabbit hole.
I'm frustrated because you'll see why at the end of this, and I'm gonna state my piece then. So on October 17th, 1995, Knorr was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. Now, consecutive life sentences mean you serve 1 life sentence before you start the second one.
So you die and you serve your next one.
Well, a life sentence in California, I think, is 20 or 25 years.
What?
Yes. A lot of places, a life sentence doesn't mean natural life. It means 20 years or 25 years or 30 years. So in my eyes, she would have to serve at least 20 years before she was eligible to start her second sentence.
I want to see this bitch in a fucking coal mine cracking coal for the rest of her life.
But that's what I was going to say. If someone has like 7 consecutive life sentences, okay, they're probably never going to get out of jail, period. It's not happening.
No, you're going to death.
Or if they got natural life.
And you're going to make us money while you're doing it.
But if they go to that person, they say, well, we'll drop this murder charge against you that you haven't been convicted of yet if you tell us where this body is for the family. I don't have a problem with that. No problem with that at all. But to tell someone you'll get out in 15 years instead of 30 years if you tell us where the body is, fuck you. Rotten fucking jail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
It's a double-edged sword, bro, because like, you know, I'm sure on one hand you have the family hagging you like I would. What the fuck's my daughter? Where's my kid? Where's my son? Like I'm walking around this earth not knowing that I know he killed him, but I can never have peace with him again. And he's laughing in his cell. Oh, I don't care. I'm holding it to me. And you can't do nothing about it. You just got to sit there and just take it on the chin.
Yeah. So Theresa is currently locked up at the California Institution for Women in Chino, California. She had a parole hearing in 2019 and was denied release. Her next parole hearing will be July of 2024. Next fucking year, dude.
That's crazy.
And I just hope they just keep denying her parole. She's a sick fuck who doesn't deserve to breathe, much less walk the street.
Well, look at the reform in California. I mean,
I know.
She might get out.
That's what scares me. William was sentenced to probation and ordered to undergo therapy for participating in his sister Susan's murder. All charges except for one were dropped against Robert because he agreed to testify. He was charged with accessory after the fact. He pled guilty, and he's serving 3 years to be to serve concurrently with his current 16-year sentence. So the next 3 years after this were part of his 16-year sentence. It doesn't mean anything. It just he has that charge on his file now. Terry, after running away, was married twice, eventually moved to Sandy, Utah, where she lived with her second husband. Now, listen to this shit, dude. She worked at a grocery store as a cashier in the same neighborhood where her mother worked and lived before she was arrested. Even though they lived in the same area, neither of them ever knew, and they had no contact. Terry died in 2011 at age 41. So the 2010 horror film, The Afflicted, was loosely based on Theresa Knorr case. From what I understand, it was an accelerated timeline of the abuse and murders. And then there's a difference in the end where the daughter kills the mother instead of the mother going to jail. The murders have been profiled on A&E's the A&E series Cold Case Files, the series Most Evil, the series Wicked Attraction, the series Evil Lives Here, and the series Deadly Women. So that's the research I had for this.
All right, let's pop that video up.
All right, let's look for that video.
All right, pause this. So he's accused of robbery and killing his two sisters.
So you're saying he's the one that was in jail?
Well, he's obviously in jail now. This is a booking photo.
Well, that booking photo could be from this charge.
What was he? He shot his sister in the chest?
No. When he left his mother, he shot a bartender in a robbery.
Okay, but then he also was involved with killing his one sister.
He
right?
was involved with disposing of the body.
Lighting her on fire?
Hold on. They thought they were disposing of a body. They actually lit a live person on fire.
All right. So just want you to know, this is the guy you're looking at. He lit his live sister on fire.
I'm 25 years old here. Two detectives took me into custody, and they said I was being arrested for murder. They take me into this room, and they start showing me pictures of these places. This could have been the entry or the turnoff where Susan was, or this could have been where my mom turned off for Sheila. The police came aware of the whole story through my sister, Terry. She had gotten herself in trouble with the law several times over the years, and each time she was arrested, she would tell this story. And they started asking me questions, mostly about where my mother was, when I last had contact with her. And that's when I start to get an idea of what I'm actually being charged in connection with.
After launching a nationwide search, investigators found
at all.
Theresa Jimmy Knorr in Salt Lake City. She'd worked as a caretaker for an 86-year-old woman for over a year and had just borrowed $4,600 from the woman's son. Detectives think she was planning to flee.
I was glad that they found her and that she was caught, but that didn't mean I was free. I was brought into the same courtroom as she was.
Accused killer and son number one is Robert Knorr Jr. He's in a Nevada prison on unrelated charges, and we're told he won't talk with the cops. This is alleged co-conspirator and son number two, 26-year-old William Knorr.
They believed I was complicit. If you weren't guilty of this,
he's
why didn't you
William.
come forward? You know, you've had 10 years to come forward. Why didn't you come forward? And the obvious, clear answer was, look at what happened to the people who did.
Yeah, that's an excuse.
Susan tried to come forward. She had gotten herself with Child Protective Services, and she's dead. So I just went about trying to live my life.
Knorr remained
think
passive
as
throughout the hearing,
narcissistic
but her
as she
son,
is.
charged as an accomplice, was
do you live
uncomfortable.
with yourself
His
every
attorney
day?
says seeing his mother makes
I don't
him
know how you
nervous.
can.
Nervous is not the right word. I was caught so off guard by her being walked into that courtroom. I just broke all the way down. I couldn't breathe. I was sweating. This, to me, is the face of my torturer. And the guy next to me told them to get me out of there. After that day in the courtroom, I have not seen her again.
Good. 25 years to life. That's what it said.
It's obviously a recent picture of my mother. The fact that she would spend the rest of her natural life incarcerated
But that's
was
not
a
what's
relief.
happening.
I never saw any sign of remorse for my mother, ever. I don't believe she's even capable of remorse. And there will never be a time in my future that I will ever want to have contact or see my mother again.
That's crazy, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. That
That-
shit happens here in America?
That's crazy. So that's fucking this psychopath, Theresa Knorr. And like I said,
You don't get a lot of psychopaths that are women.
I think people overlook women in that capacity. They don't think they're capable of it.
But you see her stranglehold again, as I said before, over this family of 8.
I think there's much more of, maybe not to this extent, but much more of this than you realize.
Oh, absolutely.
Because women are overlooked in that capacity. Men are the aggressors always. Men are the bad guys. So
more dominating.
Like I said, I was disturbed by this research.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, dude.
So
coming off the COVID bends, man. No. It's like I always got a lot of jokes and a lot of shit to say, but I kind of took a back seat to this one. And
well, this one is just like it touches a base for both of us.
Yeah, it's a shame, but that happens.
So we took on Theresa Knorr, who I think is one of the most evilest women who has ever lived in my lifetime.
And who is up for parole next year.
I would, I will send a letter to the parole board because I like writing letters. And if you like writing letters, I would write a letter to the parole board and tell them, do not let this fucking psychopathic bitch out of fucking jail.
I'll tell you what, you write a letter, I will second it. You get my petition. We'll just send a big old petition out to California.
Anyway, we took this on. You go take on the world and please have a better day than these kids did.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.